Hello and welcome back to our farmhouse here on our little country farm. Today I'd love to have y'all come along as I am adding a few spring touches, celebrating Easter with my family, and even adding to the farm. Come on in, y'all. It's probably a little bit funny to be posting an Easter video right now, but I am just behind. I am playing catch up on videos, and so I didn't want to waste this footage and not share it. And next year I may even want to come back and rewatch a lot of this just as memories, since my little babies are in the videos celebrating Easter. But nonetheless, here we are sharing another video, and I'm just going to take you along. I'm going to share my yeast rolls with you. But first, we are going to have a delicious country breakfast here. A few weeks ago, we went up to Missouri, and so we stopped at an Amish store, an Amish country store, and I grabbed some jams and some coffee, and so we are just having a treat of a breakfast. I've slowly been adding spring touches around the house here, and this area is right in front of our front door. I have a sewing cabinet that you can see right there as well, and so I have been wanting to make this a little bit prettier. We had a bookshelf here with a lot of our books, but it was a little bit too small, and so our books were overflowing and just didn't fit. And so I wanted to get that bookshelf out of the way, add a better photo here, and at least make it more functional. So I'm giving this a much needed cleaning with my mop and some spring floral cleaning spray that I made up, and I'm adding this spring floral, must be a theme, antique photo, or it's probably not antique, it's a vintage photo that my mom had, and I kind of stole it from her. But it looks great here. She had several, and she said, go ahead and take it. So I'm adding that here so that you get this pretty view of this wood hutch and the spring florals artwork here on the wall right as you walk in our front door. Now, less beautiful, but more functional. I am going to add my mop and my vacuum and my broom here. You can't really fit much in this little walkway here because that door right there is our master bedroom, so it has to be clear. But I needed somewhere to put all of this, and it's not the most beautiful place, but it is in the center of the house where I can easily grab it to clean up the kitchen or the living room or the bedroom or whatever. And so this is working really well for us. We don't want to chase it. A year or two ago, we added daffodils and tulips into our orchard here, and they have been blooming. I'm hoping to add more, but for now, little Miss Aladon had to go pick one, and that was a daffodil that she picked. Now, Easter is coming up. It has since passed. We are a couple weeks past Easter when you're watching this, but it was coming up here in this video, so I was planning out our Easter menu. We had ham and salad and deviled eggs, a coconut cake, scalloped potatoes, anything you can think of that is perfect for Easter, we had it. And so I was planning that out and then getting some deeper cleaning done to prepare for some Easter guests. As you can see, my refrigerator, I needed to take a deep breath before getting into this because my refrigerator was so dirty and needed a good cleaning. So that is what I'm doing. I'm using that same spring floral cleaning spray that I made and wiping down the inside of the drawers and the doors and the shelving and throwing out anything that just wasn't good, either to the chickens if they can have it or the goats. So I just gave this a good clean out. I'm the kind of person that pulls out everything to declutter or clean out something, and then I get halfway through it and I realize what I've done and I quit. And so my goal here was to go a little bit at a time. So I would pull a few things out, dump it, or whatever I needed to do, and then I would go clean the jars or the containers and set them out to dry, and then move on to a few more things out of the fridge. That way I didn't have a mess of a kitchen and a half emptied refrigerator. I just did a few at a time, and if I had to stop to help the babies with something or to take care of them, it wasn't any big deal because my kitchen was not a total disaster with rotten food everywhere. Now, I told y'all that we had everything imaginable that you could have at Easter time, and we did, but the only thing that I actually have to show you is my yeast rolls. And I may have shown this on here before, I don't remember, but this is such a reliable recipe. It is our favorite recipe for any kind of bread or rolls. It is just a classic yeast bread. So I have my little recipe card here, and I'm going to read it off to you. You take 1.5 cups of milk or buttermilk, a half a cup of melted butter, 2 eggs, and you add into that a half a cup of sugar. You get that mixed up and you add in 4.5 teaspoons of yeast, and then you start adding in your flour. It is between 5 and 6 cups of flour. I usually go for 5. I always add in a couple of cups, and then I will throw in a teaspoon of salt on top of that, and then add in the rest of my flour. You only want to add it till it starts pulling away from your mixer bowl. Now you want to let this knead for a few long minutes. That way it gets past the window pane test where you can stretch it and see through it and it doesn't break. You can also half that recipe because it makes 32 dinner rolls. So if you want to half it and get 16, which is a bit more manageable, that fits in one like 9x13 pan. 16 does. Once you get that all mixed up, you're just going to cover it and let it sit for a couple hours till it's doubled. You can also put it in the fridge, so you can make it the night before, put it directly in the fridge, and by overnight, by the next morning, it will have risen double.
You want a carrot? You just want to scratch your head on it? He scratched his head on it a minute ago.
Now we're just going to pull that out, and we are going to cut this into, I did a full recipe, so I'm going to cut this into 32 rolls, dinner rolls. This yeast bread is such a nostalgic thing for me. It's the kind of bread that I grew up on. I didn't grow up on sourdough, and so I've always made sourdough and sold it locally because that's what people like, and it was very interesting to me. But slowly I'm coming back to this yeast bread just because my family enjoys it more. It reminds me of my childhood, and quite frankly, it helps me get bread on the table much easier, and it's more likely to happen when I make this recipe of bread, whether I do it in a loaf or as rolls or whatever, because it's just a very easy recipe. So it's much easier for me to get it on the table. Otherwise, we're probably going to be eating store-bought, which is not, even as healthy as this. So it's not as good as sourdough as far as health reasons, but this is definitely my favorite recipe for any kind of bread, and it even beats out sourdough in the taste and the flavor. So 16 will fit on a 9x13 pan. Just cover those. Let them rise until they are doubled again. I like to go several hours, and I put them in my oven with the oven light on. Now all you do once these are done rising is top them with a little bit of melted butter and then pop them in the oven at 375 until they are golden brown on top. As soon as they come out of the oven, top them with a little bit more butter, and they will stay nice and soft for a perfect yeast roll. Now here we are. So we buy our meat locally and we buy it in bulk. This was the first time we have ever bought a hog locally though, and in bulk. We go through a lot of bacon and ham, y'all. And so I saw on Facebook that they had a couple of hogs, and so I called them right up. And did y'all see the size of that ham that they gave us? So all of that is going straight into the freezer. Here are our finished dinner rolls. They are so good, and so I was holding those off for Easter.
What do you dress like?
Like bumblebees.
Like bumblebees? You're dressed like bumblebees?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. You're wearing black and yellow.
Yeah, good like bumblebees. Like bumblebees.
Oh, you all dressed like bumblebees.
Yeah. Good morning, brother.
Did you sleep good? You looked like you did. That wild hair.
Now, we have been consistently adding to our farm, and we had a friend who wanted to get into bees, and so we are doing it together. So we are putting these bees, this is when we first got them, right out in one of our front fields. We're very excited. We've checked them a couple times since then, and they're doing great. We've added a second hive even, and I have footage of that for another video. But here we are, setting up our honeybees, and we are hoping to get honey this year. We'll see how it goes. They were stapled shut into their box. They couldn't come out. And so then once we let them out, here they all came. And so it was a very fun adventure. But bees are definitely very intimidating to me, more intimidating than anything else that we have on the property. Bees are the thing that scares me the most. Now, you may or may not know that my husband and I are building a farmhouse down the way on our farm here. And so we worked on that a little bit. He and my dad worked on that a little bit. And so here is a little glimpse into what they were doing, putting up the trusses. And I even got an outside shot for y'all. Now it looks a little funny because we don't have all our windows cut out. So there will be top windows. There will be windows on the right side of the house as well. But there she is in all her beauty. I put together a very simple and very quick centerpiece for Easter. It wasn't anything crazy. I just wanted something pretty to have for Easter and spring out on our table here. And so I grabbed some baby's breath and some pink tulips, cut them down and put them in my pitcher here. I fumbled with this for a little bit. Some of them were real droopy, and then in came little Miss Aladon. And so she had to help me out. Once I got the actual centerpiece, the floral arrangement part done, which was very simple, it's nothing crazy, I decided to add our farm eggs into the actual bowl of this, and maybe it's cheesy, I don't know. I thought it looked pretty though. And here she is peeking at me through the handle of my pitcher. She's so funny. We spent a lot of Easter Day outside. Once we were done eating, Aladon in her Easter basket got a new kite, and so her daddy was helping her fly that. Of course, we hid eggs for her to hunt, and Jack even got a few. And then the rest of the evening was spent fishing. That was another thing she got in her Easter basket, was a fishing pole. She has been asking for one, and so we grabbed that up for her, and she spent the evening fishing with her pawpaw, which is quite hilarious because if you know her in person, she has that fiery personality, and so we have to watch her. If she gets too frustrated with something when she can't do it the first time, she storms off. And so you can see where that fiery personality is here while she's fishing.
Fishing pole. That's Loretta.
I'm so glad that y'all joined me, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Thanks for stopping by.